Okay, Pelumi.
Hey!
Happy New Year.
Happy New Year! It's good to
Yes,
see you again.
good to see you too. I'm super excited. So, hello, all of you traveling minds watching or listening. This episode is for the podcast, and we're actually trying it out on YouTube, which is the
Hey.
first ever for us, for traveling minds, or for Pelumi and I would think.
Yeah.
So Pelumi is also known as Black.Kintsugi on Instagram and Facebook and Twitter as well.
No, Twitter is PhD Fly Girl.
PhD Fly Girl. So
Yeah.
that's because Pelumi's got an incredible travel goal to see every country in the world. And she's also doing a PhD in cancer research, you know, because
Just
there's
cash.
24 hours in a day. Cash.
Why not?
So I really wanted to do a kind of a goal setting type of episode. And as soon as I started thinking about that, Pelumi's face came in my head, and I was like, I have to talk to her about this for the new year. So today, Pelumi, you're going to tell me 4 steps to make your travel goals a reality. But before we get started, I want to hear about what you've been up to, because we talked in August, and since then you went on your West African trip, and you went to Ghana and homecoming.
I did. I did like a little road trip from Lagos. So I went to Benin Republic, Togo, and Ghana, and it was amazing. Like, it was just good to be home for one. Good to have the good food, the people, family, and just experience that cultural immersive experience, and just being home, especially Ghana. Like, we explored it so intensively, and we're able to see different sites and different places, and just learn about the history and all of that. And it was a memorable trip. I have to definitely admit that. Like, there's no question about that. But yeah, it was good.
And you did incredible coverage of I think it's called the Chalewote Festival in Ghana.
Yes, I did that.
That was
so
go ahead.
Yes, the Chalewote Festival is known by so it's like an art festival where people from all over the world comes to attend. And my friend kept telling me about it. And one thing I've noticed, that the people that visited kept saying, "Oh, you need to come." And like I asked like other set of people that haven't gone, and they were like, "Oh, it's all right." So I was like, you know what? I'm just gonna list people that have actually gone to this stuff. So I went, and it was mind blowing. Like, 2020, I'm gonna go again. Like, no question about it. Like,
could be an annual thing.
What's it?
It could be an annual thing for you.
Honestly, I feel that way. I think it's gonna be it's like the Berlin Carnival for me. It's gonna be an annual thing. Like, it's just so good. Like, you just see art, the locals, people come internationally, and it's not just one kind of art. So you got the through music, through actually portrait, through images, and you just got that infusion of culture, and it's the best. Like, it's a 3-4 days activity, but I went towards the end of it, and you're just walking through Jamestown, and like, you're experiencing that coastal region as well, and it's just like, it's super, like 100%.
I'm gonna I'll link to your Instagram page in the show notes at libbyj.ca. Yeah, and then people can find that trip, I think, in your stories, because
it's on my highlights. I saved it on my highlights, so you can see it. It's really good.
Yeah, exactly. It just it blew my mind. I was like, and I felt like I was a little bit there just by watching your.
Yeah. Oh, that's great.
All right. So I want to know. I know you've thought about this a lot. What is there one thing that you would say is the first most important step to making a travel goal a reality?
I'll say to write it down. Like, it's so key, the power of like literally writing stuff down. Like, have you ever gone through like old journals and stuff like that, and you actually see the manifestation, and you don't even remember wanting those things and those goals, but because the fact that you've written it down, like, subconsciously actually work towards it and achieve them. So there's just the power in the words that you don't just like say. I think writing down just converts it to almost a plan, rather than just like a wish or something like that up in the air. So it just kind of puts it down into place and actually makes you plan things. So I'll say definitely write it down. Ask the most important questions, like, you want to go somewhere. It just seems very abstract. Like, where do you want to go to? What do you want to do? How much is it going to cost? So getting this information down on paper makes you start planning effectively towards it. So I'll say that's the first thing to do. Right? Go write it down, write a plan down, make a plan towards that big goal you have. So yeah, 100%.
Go write it down. I like
Go
that,
write
and
it
I
down.
also, it makes me think, like, because you did say, like, put some details in there, and
Mm-hmm.
I think that's important, even if you don't have all the answers. Even if, like,
Yeah.
when I've planned a trip that's actually ended up happening, I haven't been
Mm-hmm.
exactly right about everything in that first
Mm-hmm.
little bit, but what was important was making sure I dreamed about it.
100%.
And
100%.
yeah, and made it, like, at that beginning stage, it just needs to seem possible.
And I've
Yeah.
always said that once you've thought about it, once it's crossed your mind that, oh, I would actually like to, like, my West African tour. It was just an idea. It was just like, oh, it's been nice. I'm going to Nigeria to see my folks. I would like to actually do a road trip. And then it became, how much will a road trip cost? Oh, what would the hotel be like? So just like gradually, like, getting this information and just actually being proactive about it. I say that's so important. Very, very important. So once you can think it, just write it down. Let the dream not just be up in there, because you forget this stuff. But writing it
Yeah.
down, just, it grants it. It makes it doable.
Awesome. I really love that. Yeah. What brought me to West Africa was, I was like, I want to get better at speaking French, but I want to go somewhere totally different. So that's how I ended up in Benin, in Ouida. Yeah.
Exactly.
So one goal, and then it's like, well, maybe it can happen, right?
Mhm,
So
mhm,
do you have a second? So the first one, go write it down. What would be the
mhm.
second step in making a goal a reality?
I'll say the second step is to go do. Like, this is so important. Is actually taking, you know, is making actionable step towards making this goal reality. So as humans, we tend to, like, look at things and, like, be like, oh, I'm not sure if I can actually do this, or make excuses why other people are achieving it and you're not. But by actually, like, doing things and putting things in place, like actionable, so you're moving away from just planning things and it just being like, oh, I'm not so sure, to actually putting things in action. So, like, things like, you want to travel during the Easter, or you want to travel, check what flights are there, take time off work already, actually actionable steps. I think that's the next big thing, because it just shows that you're actually willing and you're actually wanting it to come to pass. So I'll say definitely, changing it from just something that is in the mind, or you've just written it down, to actually actionable step. Like, don't just look at people and say, oh, they have the privilege, or because, to do this because they have a certain kind of passport, or, this kind of thing. But actually taking an action to say, okay, what's my circumstances? Okay, I don't have, like, a passport that allows me to travel freely. I have a different passport and I'll need to require, like, a visa or something like that. Okay, so where's my visa office located? How much is the visa fee? Those things like that. Taking actionable steps to make you get to that goal is very important. So just go doing it, putting it into action, or just do it, as Nike would say.
Just do it.
Just do it.
Well, and that could also just be something really small. Like when you
Mhm.
were starting out with your goal to see every
Yeah.
country in the world, did you, like,
Mhm.
what would be one of the first things that you did?
I told people that I was gonna do that. That was
Yeah.
so important for me. Like, as I wear, like, as an African, there's a value put on secrecy, just because, you don't tell anybody your business and everything like that. But I found that by telling people, I was almost accountable for that, and, like, I couldn't be flaky about it anymore. You can't tell someone, oh, I'm gonna go to 3 countries this year. I'm gonna, go to 3 of my bucket lists. I'm gonna see the Northern Star. You can't say all that stuff, and then people at the end of the year ask you, and just like, like, so by telling people, it kind of again pushes you into action. Like, you're actually actively researching things, like, looking at flights, looking at deals, having, tons of things going on. So but telling people just makes you accountable, and I think that's so important. Like, it's part of the action, but informing other people helped me, like, as a person, like, just fulfill on my words. So it wasn't just like an empty
Yeah.
promise, like I actually had to actually come true. So yeah.
That's a good point. Even while you're saying it, you can probably feel whether or not you're actually excited about it, or if you're like, I'm not as excited about
Exactly.
this as I thought I would be,
Exactly.
as you're telling someone.
Exactly.
And if somebody you know
Yeah.
well, they'll probably be like, are you
Are you
into
sure
that?
about that? Like, you don't sound so excited. What's going on? But yeah, like when you're literally like, oh my God, you wanna come too? And they're like, oh,
Yeah,
okay, you're
I'm into it. This is real. Yes, that's amazing. I like it. Okay, so far we have go write it down, go do, and that could
Mm-hmm.
be as small as just telling somebody, just getting it out there. So getting it on paper, getting it out of your mouth, saying it to somebody,
Mm-hmm.
starting to research all that sort of thing. What's number 3?
Mm-hmm. I will say go for gold. And that is simply saying money and travel or any goals you have are most of the time not mutually exclusive. Like, you have to have the money. Like, whoever says travel for free is possible, it's a bit dodgy. Yeah, it is. You can do voluntary work and stuff like that, but money is always involved.
Yeah,
Like, I
and
feel it's very, very important. It's very important. And even if you want to go, like, travel on a budget, but you still need a budget. It's very important. There's no two ways about it. So I say definitely go for gold. Like, get get your savings account in order. So what I do personally, like when I'm traveling, at the beginning of the year, I kind of say, like, this is a good, before, like, planning out, what do you want to do and where do you want to go to, and actually putting a budget on it. So, okay, for my next trip, I'll need, I don't know, £500 or, $700 or whatever. And, just putting a budget on it. And then at every paycheck, I get a certain amount of my pay. I'll say, 10% of my pay actually go towards um, a particular account, my savings account. So at the moment, my account is divided into like 5, 6. So I have my general essential account, which covers my bills, rent, all the stuff, things to keep me alive, basically. Then I have my fixed deposit account, which is literally money I cannot touch, being a responsible adult, saving for, like, a house or whatever. And then I have, like, my savings accounts where something goes in there every single paycheck. I don't know, 5% of my pay. Then I have my travel account, which is like, yay. So, certain amount there. Then I have, like, my giving account, which goes to charity and things like that. And then I have my, like, fun account, where it's just like you can blow it up. So you can put your travel as your fun, whatever works for you, whatever you find fun. And it just, gives you instant gratification, and you don't feel guilty about spending that money. That's your fun account. The travel accounts I want to focus on. So when I'm going anywhere, or when I want to travel anywhere, I literally just look at that travel account. There is no shuffling money around. There is no, oh, will I be able to afford rent for next month? There's none of that discussion. And you just put the ease off, and you literally just go, am I able to afford this? It's a simple yes or no answer, because you've separated the cash flow right from the beginning, and it really, really helps. Like, literally, it takes, you just go into your bank, and literally, I recommend keeping it with the same, having those accounts and keeping it with the same bank. You open, like, your banking app or something, you can literally see them having to move between different banks, and just, like, look at it. So I definitely having a certain amount going to that account really changes the game when it comes to traveling and having that particular fund that goes towards it. But I'll say definitely money is key, 100%.
yeah. Well, and it's like there is the whole, like, travel without spending money concept, or that
Mm-hmm.
people talk about, but it's also not that fair to the local economy, especially if you're going to a developing country, to
True.
plan to just kind of not spend.
Not
So
spend anything. Like,
yeah, exactly.
yeah,
There's a certain amount of, like, social responsibility when you travel too, where you want to support this
true.
culture that you value enough to go visit, right? I think that's pretty
Exactly.
awesome.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
But that
exactly.
taking an amount and that 10% of your paycheck or whatever percentage you want to do, that's exactly what I did. And we
Yeah.
traveled for one full year. I saved $25,000 uh, using that
So,
method because you just don't see the money, right?
yeah.
It goes off automatically
Goes
and then
off
you
is
can
like,
go,
it's like come out before you even get to, you can
yeah,
set up like a standing direct debit and stuff like that, standing order, and it just comes out of your account without you even, processing it and stuff like that. And just watching the way you spend the money, I think that's very important as well. So I'll say get things like money tracking app if you're not good with, like, I know people that I have friends that usually use like spreadsheets and stuff, and I'm like, I'm not that responsible. But like but like, just like having like, apps. There's so many like banking apps. I think a good one is like Monzo, which is really
Manzo.
really good. Yeah, Monzo. It's kind of like at the end of the month it gives you like a spending, like, oh, you use too much Uber Eats, like it's so specific about where your money goes, or you bought too much coffee, today this month. You might think about investing in a coffee machine at home, but you save some coins. So just seeing where your money goes, I think just every, I don't know, 3 months or something, have like a sit down with your money and just like, where am I spending money, where can I cut. I'm not saying, don't enjoy your money, like, on everyday things. Like, if you're a coffee lover, please have your coffee. I'm not one to say cut down, whatever makes you happy, but just having monitoring where your money goes. But those kind of apps really help. So if you have to, like, cut down Uber Eats and actually cook, and just whatever works for you, but tracking where your money goes really does help, in the general just budgeting and just having more money to travel, if that's what you want to
Yeah, and you're gonna have to
do.
do that when you're traveling anyway, right? Like you've
Exactly,
gotta kind
exactly.
of pick and choose if it's worth it to go eat out every meal, or if you're gonna spend for
Yeah,
accommodation with a kitchen, whatever.
yeah.
So
And that's another
it's
good thing about the Monzo app. If you're on the road, or you're traveling, like when you're taking money out, it doesn't charge like the banking fee. So some,
oh, okay,
banks, yeah, some banks like charge each time you take money out abroad or something like that, which sometimes can add up quite a lot if you keep taking money out. So, but this is like free. So you literally load the card up with, and it allows you to budget. So if you know that you're going for like a couple of, a weekend or something, you want to only spend like £200, or, you know, $300 or whatever, it's kind of like stops you from spending anymore, because you literally loaded your card with that certain amount. So it really helps budget. I definitely recommend it. It's like
perfect,
Revolut and Monzo. That's a good one.
cool. I've used Trail Wallet. If you ever want to look into
Okay,
that, that's a good one too. It
I'll check
changes
that out.
currencies for you. So that
Ooh,
was
that's a good.
very helpful to me.
That's
Just
really
one
good.
tap and
Because
it
sometimes
changes
you
the
don't
currency.
realize, you don't know how much you're spending, and then you're like, oh, will I buy a purse for $10 too?
Yeah,
Sure. Yeah, I it
100%.
does add that when you're traveling in the marketplace and stuff like that, and you want to buy everything, and you're just like, oh my god, I just threw $200. Like, oops, sorry, not sorry. But yeah,
Yeah, that's absolutely right. Okay, so here's what we got. We got go write it down, go do, go for the gold, and what
hmm
would number four be?
it's it's such an honest truth, and the fact that you sometimes have to go alone, like, it's so important. Personally, I think everyone should go on a solo trip at least once in their lifetime. Like, if possible, more, but at least once. And the reason why I advocate for it is because, number one, like I think I said in my previous episode, I won't have gone to as many countries I've been to right now. Next week, I'm heading to my 60th country, 60.
Next week?
Um, Next week, I'm going to Iceland. So, yeah, I'm going for my birthday. It's like, whoop, whoop, 25th birthday, celebrating the big. But yeah, I'm going to my 60th country. And being able to travel solo has been the biggest gift I've given to myself, because it meant I've been able to explore more places. I've been able to just, understand self and spend time with who I am and who I'm becoming as a woman. And it's just allowed me to be more self-reliant, and just like, understanding what Pelumi wants and what Pelumi desire out of life. And it's just so important to go solo. Like, it's like I always explain to people, like, it's like a big Excel. It's like I'm actually doing this. Like, every decision you're making, every interaction is based on what you solely want. Not, are we doing this activity because my travel buddy want to do this? There's none of that conversation. you're literally self-exploring outside and inside internally too as well. Like, I don't mean to all go, spiritual, but it's the truth. I just feel it's so important to just, you can save on the coins. You can, do the things that you truly 100% without any bias want to do. And I think that is so key and so essential. And yeah, I definitely say go alone. You will enjoy it. You will find that you sometimes might not even know you like something until you actually do it by yourself. You're like, oh, like I really like this. So yeah, I'll like, woo, you happy. Like it's so amazing. I definitely recommend it. Like, don't be scared. It's very, in 2020 is the year to literally embrace self. Is the year to just try out new things. And if you've never gone solo, this is the sign you've been looking for. If you've been waiting for it, this is it. Like, just book that trip. I would say start local, because it can be daunting to just jump into the deep end and not being sure where to start. I would say start local. Do the solo activities you are scared of doing abroad. So if it's having a meal alone, go to your local restaurant and have a meal alone. Go to the cinema by yourself. Go shopping by yourself. Once you start spending time with self in your safe zone, or your safe or a familiar place, you can then do this thing in a new place. So start expanding. So start with your your local city. Start with the nearby city. Start with a train ride away. Then if you're based in like Europe or something, then a neighboring open border kind of country, just go there. And just like just explore gradually. You can throw yourself into deep end. Hey, why not? But I say taking those baby steps does help. And just just do it. Just back to step one. Just do it.
Go for it.
Go for it.
Well,
but yeah,
I totally agree. My first trip, I went alone, and I think that it eventually made me a better person to travel with once I was with other people, right? Like on those other trips, I could eventually figure out, oh yeah, I'm really gonna enjoy this, but I know enough of what I like to do alone that I can also be really independent when I travel with other people. Yeah.
Exactly. I totally agree with that. And if if you don't want to go, and if you're still a person that still don't want to go by yourself, there's so many, and you don't want to still wait for people, you can join like an organized group trip, if that makes sense. So you're going alone, but you're not alone per se. So just like sign up for like a group. If you want to go to a certain place, just sign up for like a group trip or something. A lot of people organize it nowadays, like do your research and stuff. And that way you're going with people without needing to like wait for like friends and stuff to be ready, because it's a new year. Like, you just gotta try new stuff. Like, come on. Yay.
Amazing.
Honestly, I 100% recommend just do it. Just yeah, try new things.
Okay.
Go along.
That's awesome. So we have 4 steps, not 8. 4.
No, just 4.
To make your travel goals a reality. So you said go write it down. Get it on paper so that it exists in your life. Go start telling people, start taking bigger steps, action. Go for the gold. You gotta save money. It just it's just a
there's
given.
no way around it. Like, it's the honest truth. Some people try to sell like gimmicks and ways to go for, like, no, it's you got that.
It also
You had to have
is
that
really nice to travel with some money.
Yeah, and it's nice as well. That's so true. Like, once in a while you want to enjoy, and be bougie and, splash a little bit. Like, let's be honest.
Exactly. Cut the lattes at home, whatever.
Exactly.
And last but not least, go alone. I wouldn't have done most of my trips if I didn't go alone. So, that's awesome advice. Pelumi, thank you so much for joining me.
Thank you so much for having me again. Like, it's always a pleasure being on
Yeah,
this.
it's super fun talking to you. Well, have fun in Iceland. And what I have to ask, what is your travel goal for 2020? Do you have one big one?
2020 is actually going to be my year of slow travel. Mostly because I'm kind of rounding off my PhD, so I'm going to take some time just focusing on school. But once I'm done, which will be fingers crossed, towards the end of 2020. I do want to do like a big road travel around the world for a year, like you mentioned. So that's kind of like in
Oh,
the works. Yes. So it's hopefully 2020 or going to be 2021. But 2020, anywhere I want to go to is going to be a year of really slow travel. Just really like, even if I go to one country and just experience one thing, just really enjoy it. Like having those cultural immersive experiences whereby it's just not going somewhere and just like, top hot spots. I want to be more, going away from the, what's the word? Just trying new stuff that are a lot more culturally immersive. But yeah, that's kind of like the big goal. Slow travel is the word for 2020.
awesome. That's
Yeah.
amazing. So you're already at step 2 then.
Yes, exactly. As I've got it written down, goals are written down. Then now it's like,
Yeah.
go
Now
do.
living.
We're on the go do. We're still looking for the coins, but we're getting there. We're looking for gold, but we'll get it.
Thank you so much. And thank you for listening to Traveling Minds. Episode artwork
Thanks.
for this episode is by Laura Studney. As always, the best way to find the podcast is to subscribe to it on iTunes or wherever you get your podcast. This episode's on YouTube. If you love it, then tell us in the comments so that maybe I'll put more of these episodes up on YouTube and put the video on there too. Check the show notes for links to find Black.Kintsugi on all sorts of platforms. Did you have anything else you wanted to add, Pelumi?
No, just go
Happy
do.
days. All right. Thank you for
Thanks
listening.
for listening.